Warriors, welcome back to the show. And to join us for this next segment, we have JC. You know him, you love him. My man, welcome. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm doing really well actually. The
Awesome.
sun is shining. We're talking about a new season. We've got stuff to talk about even past this. It'll be very nice. But we are going to talk about patch notes real quick. These are what you can expect
Fight
come the
changers.
season,
Let's
September
go.
15th. And to start off, we're going to talk about dodge attacks. We have some characters in the game that have them. Some that
BP
don't,
gets
but
really
we're
a
bringing
dodge
them to
attack.
the ones that don't.
Okay.
So JC, walk us through it.
Yeah. So like we've previously announced when we came back from I think the last testing
I
grounds,
hope
we're
Ubisoft
adding
also
new dodge
fixed his
attacks
forward
to
dodge attack.
all 5 of these heroes. So Jormungandr, Centurion, Blackbriar, Warlord, and Highlander. Max has a video, gorgeous video that show you what the dodge attacks actually look like.
It's a
So
okay, light attack for your
except
arm.
for Highlander, they're all done with the light
Attack
attack,
for
light
Centurion.
button. They're all 600 ms. They're all done 300 ms into the dodge. The lights are all enhanced.
Light attack for
Highlander is
BP.
with heavy. Made a bit more sense for Highlander, considering we want him to be
light
like a
attack
bit
for
better in
Warlord.
defensive stance. For Highlander, they're also
Heavy attack for a
only
Highlander, of
while you're in
course.
defensive stance. In offensive stance, you have like shorter recoveries for your dodge attacks for when you're dodging, so you're okay. And one thing that's important to note is that they also all have iframe, so that's really good. For all of these heroes, especially everybody but Highlander, you'll notice that they don't have like huge hitboxes, big trajectory, a lot of
No,
other stuff.
it's basically
That's
a snap.
because we designed them on purpose to be usable and be good at dealing with bashes specifically,
Yeah, I guess so.
but not necessarily be really, really good dodge attacks in the sense of I'm going to be target swapping them and doing all those crazy things that some heroes are known for. This is literally just to make sure that these heroes are able to efficiently deal with bashes. Even though Blackbriar could from neutral, when you're in chains, you couldn't really go into bulwarks. So that's the idea here. We really want them to be good, but not be the best dodge attacks in the game, so that they're a little bit riskier to use because they're on light inputs most of the time, and so we want to take that direction a little bit, so that makes a bit of sense there.
So basically,
Awesome.
everyone gets
Very excited to be bringing dodge attacks, especially for
light
like
dodge
Centurion
attack,
and
except
like
Highlander.
Highlander. I've seen a lot of people talking about those
He gets
many
the heavy
Reddit threads that I
one.
have seen. So
Yeah, you really needed them.
yeah. So let's move on to hero fight improvements. JC, what do we have here?
Yeah, so we're doing a lot of changes
Hero
to a
fight
lot of
improvement
heroes this
for
time.
one,
It's
no cost.
I would say 99% buffs. We really
Yeah,
want to focus
still
on
useless.
raising some heroes, getting them to be a bit more meta. Not necessarily be like must picks or whatever, but really focusing a lot on like some quality of life stuff, making sure they're more playable, and raising up the bar a little bit. So first we have zone attack cost, right?
See a lot
So
of numbers here. A
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
no,
I
numbers.
still
a
like
lot
to
of
change
numbers there,
because
right?
you
So
also use
I'm
the
not gonna
zone
go through all
attack
of them,
for
but
clearing
basically all
minions
of these
on
heroes
B
have
lane.
lower stamina
exa-
cost for the zone attacks.
For example,
If
Big
your hero
Warlord.
is not listed, don't
Big
worry, we
Warlord.
didn't
After
forget
2
about them.
zones, no,
Just we
after
did a
every
lot of
zone he
changes
has to
here, so we're
wait
gonna get to
every
them
time.
eventually.
Another
But
zone
that's kind
attack.
of like the idea here.
Kinda
We want to lower
ridiculous.
the cost for all of these zone attacks to make sure that they're not you're not wasting half
For
your stamina
Nuxia
every time you use them,
Griffin,
right? So
20.
this is a big buff. Some characters for like Warden, for Zanhu, those are very, very big buffs. For some
Imperial,
other heroes,
12,
it's still a bit less, but
12.
it's still like it's a bit better. And we didn't go with a really completely standard route.
I wish they would
We
also
went
reduce
to
the
it like on a case by
recovery
case
of
basis, right? So
Centurion's
sometimes it's better
zone
that they're
attack.
30 because they're faster, they have properties. At 20 because
Lady
they can
actually
be
makes
faster with
sense, yeah.
properties. For multi-hit zones as well, we did a lot of changes there to make sure that we're in a good spot here.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Lots of numbers. But we also have some
Warlord, Berserker,
specific
Orochi.
changes for some heroes that we also want to go through.
Yeah, so for Warden, Warlord, Berserker, Orochi, and Hitokiri, we have like very,
Warlord,
very small
updated
quality of
traction
life
forward
things, but
movement for
still
Sword
very
and Blade.
useful.
What was
So
Sword and Blade?
Warden's chain lights are now 500 ms, down from 6.
Oh, Berserker has no
That
more
was a
health.
no-brainer. Like we should have done that a while ago.
That heavy
it's good that
finishes
we
are
have
not
them now.
700, down from
Warlord
800.
has updated trajectories and
Oh.
for Warden Blade. That's the heavy attack that you do when you're in full block stance. It'll help you catch people that are dodging, step forward a little bit more. You can't really
That's
just
changed,
backwalk
so
it anymore.
your
So that should be quite good there.
charge
Berserker
heavy
has
attacks
10
now
more HP.
cost buff
Should
stamina
help
down from 25.
reinforce
Yeah.
the hero's trader identity and make him a little bit less squishy. That should be good. Orochi's side of finishers are now 700 ms, down from 8. The idea here is that we want players to actually use Orochi's side of finishers in group fights. They already have huge trajectories. They're very, very good. But at 800 ms, they were a little bit too slow. So at 7, we're hoping that they're going to be a little more useful. And on top of that, because they are 7, Feint the guard break should be able to catch a bit more
I don't know
things.
about the Hitu
So
buff.
I'm really
Yeah, I
looking forward
guess
to see how that
because
pans out for that one.
Hitu,
And finally,
like,
Hitokiri.
matchmaking casual
cost 12
Hitukiri
stamina.
buffs always look
He
like
used to
this.
cost
One
25.
guy always charges
Before
heavy
the
to unblockable, he cancels it.
those
But now he
attacks
can
specifically
do
did
the.
not have an additional stamina
Now
cost
they
when they were parried.
basically reduce
That's why
the
they used to
cost.
cost 25. Now that all
Half.
those things are removed, we've decided to like revert that change
Very
back,
annoying.
and now they cost 12. Gives a bit more stamina economy for Hitokiri. Should be really good down the line for this hero as well.
There's a lot that's coming with this, but now we have even more deep dive, even more granular, just details. We're starting with Peacekeeper.
More. Yeah, more, right? Okay. So Peacekeeper. Peacekeeper, we've adjusted a couple of things. The direct cancel. Okay, you can now cancel the recovery into a dodge from 200 to 300 ms. It used to be static at 333. So this should help Peacekeeper actually do more direct cancels and be able to dodge out of it, give her a bit more safety in group fights. And then we have
increased forward movement on all neutral. That's good.
It might be a bit hard to understand right now, but basically what we've been doing for dashing thrust and the throws together is that we adjusted the time that you can perform a dashing thrust when you're doing a front dodge.
Does it mean
from 3 to 5, and it used to be static at from 2 to 5. Sorry, it used to be static at 3, and throws have a little bit less recovery. The intent here is that you should be able, with a Peacekeeper, to throw somebody, get them to wall splat, and then do a dodge for it heavy every single time without having to worry too much about positioning, timing, and all that sort of stuff. So it should be a lot more consistent to land now. Then we have the only nerf in the entire patch, which is the stabs after a guard break for Peacekeeper. They used to deal 38, which was way too high. So we've adjusted the bleed damage, a bit of how it works there. And it now deals 28. It's still above the curve because you're spending more stamina, you get all that stuff, you get a little bit more stuff there. Fair. But at the end of the day, like it's a lot more
and in the end,
line
it's
with
the bleed damage you can.
We've also increased our forward movement on every single one of our neutral, chained, and finisher attacks. You used to be able to backwalk her a little bit, and it was like she had a hard time sometimes reaching you. So with these changes,
but I'm surprised
it should be a lot easier for her to really keep the pressure and stay in. We've also updated the trajectory for the zone attacks for the first strike, so it matches the weapon a lot better. The trajectory is a bit bigger. It's not like it's less angled, so it works better. And finally, this one's a big one. Her crossbow feat, which is her tier 3 feat, it has a pretty short cooldown, and it used to deal 25 damage straight up, right? Which was still good. But now what we've changed it to do is it deals 15 direct damage and 10 bleed damage over 10 seconds. So it still deals 25.
So every second,
but that
1 damage.
But the point is, like, it really lets her open up her kit, be able to get those unblockables
basically
in, get the synergy with other bleed heroes, and it's a lot easier to land that. You could go like externally, because that's a lot of complaints that I've had, that externally Peacekeeper couldn't really do anything.
Okay.
Now when she has her feat 3, you can actually start to apply a lot more pressure when you're external with her.
Looking forward to playing Peacekeeper.
Increase forward movement on our lights.
We're doing a law boy.
Update the trajectories.
Basically, we've done a big pass of adjusting the forward movement on the side attacks, the side heavy attacks. We've updated the weapon trajectories for the side heavies. They should no longer like just phase through some external opponents. That should work much better. And we've also did a little bit of a pass.
I was hoping for
input
more
comfort for the parry follow-ups, so you can now perform them like 66 ms before, and because of that, we've also had to speed up impaling riposte, which is the kind of the impale that we have after a parry, so that it would still fit. Basically, those are just 2 changes that
why are they not improving?
It's going to be a little bit easier to do these parry punishes.
Law bring us forward.
Beautiful.
Dodge bash.
Kensei, right? So Kensei, all of his changes rely on they'll revolve around his top heavy finisher. You could before just always, every time you saw unblockable, just roll away and deal with everything. So we've done a couple of changes. The chaining timing for chain lights into top heavy is now 100 ms. The attack itself has been sped up to 1100 ms and now suffers instead of fast guard break. And there's also increased forward movement on top heavy finisher. This means that now if your opponents used to roll on reaction to you throwing that top heavy finisher, you can now just hit guard break, catch them with the fast guard break, get them while they're rolling, and it helps Kensei provide a lot more pressure this way and makes that top heavy finisher much
movement
better.
On top heavy finisher. Okay.
I may have to play. I don't really play a ton of Kensei, so I may have to jump on after these.
Yeah, it's an interesting difference there.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
all right.
Well, I see a lot here for Nobushi.
Yeah, right. So for Nobushi, it looks like a lot, but it's not. you'll see it's relatively simple. We've updated the trajectories for all of your side heavy openers and finishers. Again, they didn't really match the weapon swings, so with this you'll be able to hit people better externally, so that works. Side Cobra Strike, which are side dodge lights, they're now 533 ms. They used to be 6, and they now have iframes, so they're actual good dodge attacks now. They're not. You don't need to like delay them and make sure you do them at the right timing when you're dodging or whatever. Now they're always going to be able to have iframes. You're going to be able to do good with them. So that's very
I
good.
was
Their
also
side dodge
hoping for
heavies
forward
are
movement.
also very good,
on
but
the
those haven't really
kick.
didn't get updated because we wanted to have a version of it that was this is the dodge attack thing, and this one is the more like zone type of thing. So that's going to be a little bit different there. Front Cobra Strike is now 500 ms instead of 6, and you can do it from 2 to 500 ms in the front dodge. It used to be stuck at 300 there, and it was 600. So with this, like, it also gives that to be a little bit of a better peel tool. It lets you really like, delay it and have like a little bit pressure, a little bit better pressure there. We've also updated all of our recovery timings. Well, a bunch of them on all those listed attacks. I won't go into them, but we just wanted to normalize her recoveries because some of them were like extremely long. So when you would miss, or even if you would hit, if you didn't choose to chain afterwards, you were left wide open with Nobushi. So that's like a little bit of quality of life thing there. And finally, her out of luck heavy finisher is now a left stance attack. It used to be top, so now being left means that she can actually throw it in the lane, be able to catch more enemies, more minions and stuff, and makes her like a bit better overall in the minion lanes. That should be a nice improvement there.
I'm already happy.
But wait, there's even more.
There's always more, right?
There's
so
always
punch
more.
Centurion. So we've increased the forward movement for the charge heavy openers, basically because
now Gates uninterruptible stance,
and so the pressure that the character
at
could
1000
deal from externally was like not that good, honestly. On top of that, that's a really good pin. So you get your opponent, you pin him for a long time, you get a guaranteed ally heavy, works super well, so that's good. So with that bit of extra forward movement, it should help Centurion actually get into that groove a little bit better. And we've also changed.
So you cannot throw a cheeky interrupt.
So we give it the
after a light attack,
right? Which means that if whenever you do a charge punch, if you fully charge it and your opponent did an early dodge attack, you should now pretty much always catch them, kind of like what Warden does. It was a bit of a problem now where you could like some characters were able to fully avoid it. So with that change, we should be good to go in this change. So it has better tracking. It's a little bit faster. It's faster, and then there's like the stance, the armor kicks in a little bit earlier as well to make sure you get into a good situation here.
Nice. And then up next we have Gladiator.
Yeah, Gladiator. Small change for Gladiator again, but still, front and side sucker punches now cost 12 stamina. They used to cost 24, I think, which was like an insane number. On top of that, because they cost so much stamina and they don't guarantee direct damage afterwards, we felt like it really was time for Gladiator to have like a better side dodge bash. And we also increased the input window for counter jab, which is basically after you parry and you hit guard break. We increased the window by 400 milliseconds. It's huge. It makes a big difference here. It should be much better here. Should like the input comfort, you have a lot bigger window to hit the button, so that should feel much better here for Gladiator.
Ooh, my favorite carnivore.
Yeah,
these
Shaman,
heavy
right?
finishers.
So Shaman has a couple of changes. Her heavy finishers have a bit more forward movement.
900.
Again, one of those heroes that like was
the left heavy finisher?
So target swapping,
was unblockable, right?
Target. Sometimes you could backwalk. It was a bit hard to really catch up to opponents. So with this, it should be like it should feel better at least. It's not a massive increase, right? But it still makes a bit of a difference here.
Yeah,
her left heavy finisher is now 900 ms.
Shamsel has terrible forward
1,000 or 1,100. I'm not sure.
Attacks.
But you used to be able to on reaction see unblockable,
terrible.
and then your opponent would just hit light and beat you out of it every single time. Now at 900, if your opponent mashes light after you perform the light, so Shaman does light into left heavy finisher, and your opponent mashes light in between, you're going to trade with Shaman.
Yeah.
This means that Shaman's going to win the trade because she deals a lot more damage with those heavy finishers than a neutral
timing
light.
Neutral.
But still, it's something that we're trying out here where it's still interruptible, but at the same time, it's a trade where Shaman wins. So we want to see where that goes.
It's basically like
that aspect. We've also lowered Predator Hunger's
if he hits you with a light attack, and you just throw a cheeky interrupt,
like, again, it helps with the stamina economy. And we've also removed the stamina penalty when you're switching from Wildcat's Rage, which was dodge for
everyone
dash.
Gets the neutral.
Actually, no, that's dodge for heavy, and Predator's Mercy and Hunger, which are dodge forward bash, right? So the idea here is that dodge forward or dodge back is that you could do like dodge forward heavy and then tap guard break while that was going, she stops, puts her weapons away, and then keeps going forward. So you could switch between the two kind of different attacks. But when doing that, it would actually cost you stamina. And so because you've already paid the stamina upfront once, we felt like that wasn't really necessary anymore. So we've decided to remove it. Gives her again better stamina economy. So you should be more free to be able to use that little bit of a mix up there more often.
Nice.
All right. Black Friar, right? So
forward dodge heavy has better tracking, more forward movement.
We really wanted to be able to catch more people.
Finally, Ubisoft.
It might not still be the best roll catching tool or whatever, but at least with that bit of increased movement,
and they used the
word. Catch people from a bit
they used the
away,
term roll catcher.
Ubisoft.
Okay, thank you.
It used to be much slower, dealt a lot more damage, but because of the speed it had, it was completely useless. Like it's sad to say, but it really wasn't good. So at that speed now, with that damage, it's a lot more in line with what other sprint attacks are. So that should work quite well. And finally, Bulwark Slash. We've lowered its guard break vulnerability to 100 MS, right? So that's gonna be similar to like Kyoshin and some other heroes that can attack out of their down stance.
Wow.
And the big thing here is that beforehand, if you were against a Black Prior and you went to down stance, you had a guaranteed guard break every single time. Because reacting to that down stance, Black Prior didn't have anything he could do to actually beat that guard break. So now Black Prior does down and then heavy right away. If you try to guard break, you're gonna get hit by that heavy unblockable. So it gives Black Prior a little bit more safety here, lets him use that attack a little bit more often, and makes him a little bit less vulnerable as well in these kinds of situations.
Okay, cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful indeed. Heavy finishes are now.
Right? So Warmonger. Heavy finishes now. The Warmonger.
Wow, that's
so,
early.
Heavy finishes
super
now
early.
Uninterruptible stance. That's armor for people at 100 MS. It used to be much later. This is to be like a lot more in line with other heroes we've been doing that have that type of armor in their finishers. Should let her trade with dodge attacks a lot better. Give her a lot more safety in group fights. Let her land those heavies. So that's very good. And then we've done changes to Praying Claw. So Praying Claw used to be just a regular bash, didn't really do anything. Slashes you with her claws. So what we've done is that Praying Claw itself now deals 8 bleed damage up front. But to compensate, we've lowered the damage of the stab and the slash, so light and heavy follow-ups, by 8, so that you still deal the same amount of damage when you're doing those follow-ups, but at least you're gonna get a little bit of bleed off of the claw itself. Helps you synergize with like the bleed heroes, so like Nobushi, Shaman, Peacekeeper, all that sort of stuff. So we're hoping that I'll give her a little bit more utility, maybe create some new team comps, and at the same time make the hero just better in general, having a little bit more upfront damage.
Nice. And then we save the best for last, of course.
Griffon. Yeah.
Veteran's Lesson now gains uninterruptible
right.
stance.
So Griffon, again, Veteran's Lesson, which is the heavy finishers.
Yeah. Okay.
They gain uninterruptible stance at 100 MS, down from 5. Again, it's to be able to trade better. You have more safety in group fights. That works quite well. And we've also done some changes to Mind Cleaver, which is side dodge heavies. So the miss recoveries are a little bit faster, and you now gain defense at 500 MS. So it makes them a lot safer, right? Whenever you do them, you would be left wide open for a super long period of time. So now target swapping those attacks.
I mean, it's fine now.
Work way better
since you have now Veteran's Lesson.
So that's kind of the idea here for Griffon.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it, right?
Change. Nice change.
Yeah, I believe so. That was a lot that we covered. And if you want to go back and read some other things, or if there's anything that you missed, you can always go ahead and read the patch notes over on our website.
Thank you.
And we'll make sure we have everything there listed and everything all nice
forward
and
dodge bash
for you.
Lawbringer has to be improved.
But JC,
forward
how
movement of Nobushi kicks has to be improved.
Like honestly, this is really cool. And
otherwise,
there's one more thing I'd like to announce.
Like the overall changes.
We're aware that a lot of players are asking for Jormungandr rework. And I can confirm when it's coming in a testing grounds. Not for this season, unfortunately, because we're taking our time with him. We want to make sure that we get to the right spot with the hero and present something that's going to make a lot more sense. So it'll be coming up, not in this season, in the future. But we have not forgotten about you, Jorm players. Definitely not. We know a lot of players love the hero, love the faction, love everything about the hero. It's super cool. We love him too. And sometimes, things change, and we want to make sure that we get find the right direction for the hero. So we're taking a little bit more time with it. but still we're gonna get there and it should be super awesome.
All right, so your rework is coming in future. We will obviously update whenever we are ready to talk about it. But you just talked a lot about patch notes, so grab some water. I'm gonna grab Alex for the testing ground segment. So you watching, don't go anywhere. I'm gonna be right back.
All right, thanks.
Testing grounds. Going next, huh? I think Lawbringer doesn't need much, like chain variation. Like maybe you can perform light.
Warriors, welcome back to the show. JC, how you doing?
Pretty good. Still, hanging on, so it's all good.
Got your water, you hydrated, feeling good?
Yeah, got everything I need.
Awesome, because we're about to be talking about testing grounds. So this is going to be a good one. So testing grounds will be launching with the launch of the Demon Dagger on September 15th, going all the way until September 22nd. So you've got a nice long week to go ahead and test out all of the changes. And JC, we're actually doing some pretty interesting changes. We're doing 2 reworks and then a combat change. So go ahead and walk us through it.
We're doing a rework for Valkyrie, a rework for Tiandi, and also we're testing out some changes to counter guard break. See how that feels. I'm super hyped for it, so it should be really, really interesting.
Tiandi?
Same here. So we've been doing something a little bit different with our testing ground segments on the Den. JC and Alex have created a video showcasing the reworks, going in depth with them, talking about them, and we're gonna go ahead and let that roll, and then we'll come back, give our final thoughts, and continue on with the show. So JC, you ready?
Yep.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Hello, everybody. So today we're going to be looking at changes that are coming to the testing grounds. We're going to have Valkyrie changes, Tiandi changes, and counter guard break changes. So first up, we're going to start with Valkyrie. So Valkyrie is one of our older heroes.
Better tracking.
She doesn't have that much offense.
Heavy
a lot of her stuff can be dodged on timing. Sweep doesn't really work. And so we're really trying to give her better openers, and also to give her better pressure and offense in general. And for that, we're going to start with Shield Crush and Shield Tackle. So we've actually removed Shield Crush in this testing rounds and replaced it with Shield Tackle. And you can no longer do Shield Tackle from back dodge, right? So right now I just did back dodge and guard break. You can't do it anymore from this, but you can now do it from front dodge instead. So if you do heavy, you can soft feint into Shield Tackle. You can do zone, soft feint into Shield Tackle.
The zone.
There we go.
Okay.
So
zone looked a little bit faster.
You can use Shield Crush. You can now use Shield Tackle instead.
Oh no,
Shield Tackle also now guarantees a light when it lands. It still blocks attacks like before. So there we go. You can also now dodge out of it. So that gives you a little bit more defensive options. So that's quite interesting. And what's also cool with it is that now we have a new kind of mix-up that we've never really had before, which is if your opponent thinks that you're going to Shield Tackle, they can just guard break and to try to beat your Shield Tackle attempt, right? There you go. So that works. But if I let my heavy go and they attempt to guard break, my heavy is going to land instead. So we're really trying to do something a little bit different here that has more impact on Valkyrie, gives her a better reason to use Shield Tackle. And it's kind of like using maybe like a charge attack as a soft feint or something. So it's kind of interesting. And it really pushes a attack while you're defending and defend while you're attacking mindset that we really wanted to have for Valkyrie. That's super different. It feels really cool. I can't wait for people to try it out. And other thing to know is that, as usual, that light that you have here leads to sweep, leads to everything. Basically, it counts as a second hit in the chain. So using that, you can really go into your sweep a lot more often and have those mix-ups work quite well. So speaking of sweep, it is now 500 milliseconds instead of 6. Should make it a lot less reactable. Should work quite much better. It no longer unbalances allies or multiple opponents, so it only really unbalances the character you are locked onto.
Okay.
We made that change because we have to choose between one or the other, and unbalancing allies made so that ganking when you're using sweep was much more difficult because you risked unbalancing your friends and your allies,
man,
and then they couldn't get guaranteed
smart
damage.
outplays are gone now.
And last but not least, the sweep follow-up is now frame advantage, right? So now if I mash light and my opponent mashes light, see, as you see here, I was able to hit them almost on the way coming back up. They can still block, right? So if I go at top light here, it's still blockable, but I have frame advantage. So it lets Valkyrie really keep the offense up. Using sweep in 1v1 situations will really help you, and keeping that frame advantage really helps Valkyrie in this position. Then we have Pouncing Thrust and Hunter Strike. So Pouncing Thrust has more range now, a lot more range. So that's quite good. And they're now all enhanced as well. So as you see here, like that's really like you're going to get interrupted on block. Lets Valkyrie really go further into her chains. Be able to sweep, really initiate a lot more. Her side dodge lights, so Pouncing Thrusts now have more forward movement as well. So they used to be quite bad. They didn't really hit forward much. She didn't really move a lot. So with this, you really have a lot more forward movement. They also have more side movement, right? So if you do it like this, she moves more to the side, so that's good. And they also now have proper iframes. It's kind of hard to show here, but the idea is that with those iframes, let's go like this, yeah. It makes it a lot easier for you to be able to dodge and properly do dodge attacks with this in group fights and a lot of different situations. So it works
but also makes it harder to do.
Then we have
perform
something for attacks. So all of her heavy attacks have more forward movement now. Yeah. It doesn't really show, but one of the big things that used to happen is if you did a side light, a left light into heavy feint to guard break,
it whiffs basically.
It wouldn't work. You couldn't catch people.
And in the live version, it whiffs.
You didn't have enough forward movement. So now that those heavies have more forward movement,
the second part of a mix-up
forward a lot
has
more.
pure forward movement.
You're able to target swap, hit more opponents, works quite well. We've also updated all the trajectories on her side heavies, both neutral, chained, and finishers, to be able to hit external opponents much better. We've also slowed down the top light and chains and her finishers to 500 ms, right? So they used to be 4. So these used to be 400 ms, and the problem that we run into this is that at low level, 400 ms lights are really hard to work with. Already 500 are a little bit hard to react to for a lot of players, and we want players to at least have a chance to be able to block sometimes, right? But then when they're 400, it's a lot harder, and then at high level, the players are good enough that they're able to block top, and then if it's a side, they react and block the side, and if it's not a side, they just keep blocking top, and they still block it. So that didn't work either. So with everything at 500, it incentivizes Valkyrie to do more heavies, do more into the shield tackle type of things, but still be able to use them and not be as frustrating at low level. Last but not least, in terms of attacks, we've also normalized recoveries of all of our chain attacks to be between 700 and 800 ms everywhere. It's a bit of a quality of life change, but it really helps Valkyrie be a little bit more safe in group fights and when outnumbered. We also have zone attack. So the trajectory for the first step for zone attack is now 500 ms instead of 6.
It looks really much faster.
So that makes a big difference. It makes it a lot more usable. And we've also updated the trajectories for both hits.
Oh
Again,
my
so you
god!
can match the weapon better. You can hit more people externally.
Oh, so important.
Over fights with this. And finally, the last change we want to look at Valkyrie is Hunter's Rush,
sprint attack, right?
attack.
Yeah, sprint
so
attack.
Valkyrie's sprint attack now initiates chains. So you can go Hunter's Rush into heavy, this, and so you can do all sorts of stuff with it. So it really helps her initiate when out of lock a lot better, using her sprint attack to get into her chains and let her initiate some more. So that's it for Valkyrie. Next up, we're going to look at Tiandi.
Yes, please.
Okay, so now let's look at Tiandi, right? So for Tiandi, we really want to focus on the dodge specialist aspect of the hero, as well as improving the hero's offense. Like Tiandi had like some limited dodge cancels here and there. It really didn't live up to the dodge specialist name. And on top of that, his offense was a little bit lacking. It was difficult to open up people and get into the groove and really have proper offense with the hero.
The problem is with Tiandi, you cannot kill really fast.
So first up, we have Flow Like Water, basically recovery cancels.
Yeah.
So Tiandi can now recovery cancel every single attack into a dodge at 300 ms, right? So you can do light into a dodge. You can do heavy into another heavy into a dodge if you want. You can even do it off of like Palm Strike or Dragon Kick that we're going to look into a little bit later. So essentially, we really wanted to have Tiandi be able to really be a good specialist into having dodge cancels. They're a little bit slower than other dodge cancels. They're being at 3. Pirate and Orochi are at 2, and Xanu is at 3. So we're really trying to like find a little different common ground for these, but this is really interesting. Works quite well and gives a lot of interesting things. Next up, we have Palm Strike. So Palm Strike used to be on Backwalk and Guard Break. We've actually now put it on front dodge guard instead. The reason for that being that at low level, the back guard break attacks are a little bit problematic because they're really hard to react to at low level, but they're also fully reactable at high level, and so that makes them not very good. They're okay as interrupt tools, kinda, but not really. So we really wanted to have it to be in a much more standardized position. So from front dodge guard break works quite well. And the other cool thing with that is that because it's now in front dodge, you can do interesting mix-ups like dodge cancels your attack into palm strike, reset your chain, keep going to what you have. So Tiandi really goes much further with this. It might look like a strange change for some, but we really feel that having that off of that dodge really opens up Tiandi quite a bit. We've also removed the unique follow-up it had. So when you do on live, when you do a palm strike, you used to have a heavy follow-up that was armored, top only. You could target swap, but it was a bit weird. And the problem with that move was that because it had like strange properties where it couldn't be parried. If the palm strike landed and you did that heavy against your opponent, the opponent that the palm strike landed on, that attack was unparryable. So that was kind of hard to read. And the other real niche move that it had was that it could kind of trade with dodge attacks if somebody was doing a dodge attack against your palm strike, for example. But because you now have access to both dodge cancels here, if you want to dodge attack somebody who dodged it, then you can do that. You can also, if you still want that armor somewhere, you can dodge cancel a dodge for it heavy, which still has armor. So you can do palm, target swap, dodge for it heavy, and do all that sort of thing. So that still works quite well. So we really felt like that specific attack was no longer necessary, as it forced Tiandi down a very specific path that we didn't want. And the last thing that we have with palm strike is that actually it now leads to heavy finishers that you can change your stances to as well. So you can do like a left heavy finisher, right heavy finisher, same for lights. So now you can actually do this and hit somebody on the side with a trajectory if you like.
That's good.
Whereas before that was completely impossible. So we really want to give like Tiandi a lot more viability in those outnumbered situations, be able to use those side heavy finishers, hit people externally, and get into that move. So next up we have Dragon Kick, right? So Dragon Kick was a bit of a weird move in that, yeah, you could kind of ledge with it. You can like push somebody into a wall and maybe get a follow-up. Maybe luckily get it, like land a kick on somebody, lands next one of your allies, they get a heavy on him. But it's still, like in most situations, it was actually better for the defender to just get hit by the Dragon Kick or react to Kensei to Tiandi rather, doing a soft feint dodge or whatever. So we've done two things to really help remedy this, right? So Dragon Kick can now be feinted. So you can just straight up feint Dragon Kick.
Oh.
Go for a guard break if you'd like to catch dodge attempts.
So you don't have to
And it also now a dedicated follow-up on heavy attack. So that every time you do land a Dragon Kick, you do get a heavy attack afterwards. So now there's an actual incentive for your opponent to actually want to try to deal with it, do something instead of just taking it and just taking
nice.
No damage or very low damage. So we really tried to get Dragon Kick to be a much more threatening move for Tiandi.
Holy shit, okay, that's a big buff.
And then we now have side dragon dodges. So they used to be 1100 MS, so that's super slow. They couldn't, like, it was really difficult to really punish bashes and like faster attacks with side dragon dodges, side dodge heavies, for example, because the problem that we started having is that because it's so slow, a lot of bashes could just miss. You would do that move, and then your opponent would be able to block in time almost every single time. With them being faster, they're now 800 MS, so they should be able to catch a lot more bashes when you dodge them at the right timing. But to do that, we also remove the extended dodge properties because it's faster. Having extended dodge properties on that move is kind of crazy. You were able to like side dodge quite a bit. It was super strong.
Okay, that's a
little bit. It's still good, but it's a little bit less. But as Alex in front of me was graciously playing with me right now to show you the changes, showed you can still soft feint it right into a dodge. So and you can still feint the attack as well. So it's not like the move changed a little bit. You can still use it in a lot of situations, but it should now be actually useful at beating bashes. And like we've seen, you can do like really crazy shenanigans where you do side dodge heavy into front dodge palm into a lot of stuff. So again, this really opens up Tiandi quite a bit to do a lot of crazy, interesting shenanigans there and go there. so the last things we want to look at are quality of life changes on TND. So first up is finishers on when you're out of lock are now side attacks. They used to be top, so you can do heavy there. So that should help TND get a much better minion clear without having to resort to having like dodge cancels or sort of stuff. You can now go and just mash heavies on the side and be able to get better lane clearing abilities. We've also improved the trajectories for the side heavy finishers. It's kind of hard to show right now, but they're way better at catching external opponents. Again, they match the weapon better as well. So it's a big improvement there for TND. And we've also removed all the stamina damage and stamina pauses on all of his bashes. So on Palm, on Dragon Kick, there's no longer stamina damage or pause. We also removed the stun on Dragon Kick because it didn't really do anything. So it's a lot of like small changes for quality of life, and then the other changes which don't seem like much, but really help the character feel a lot like have much better flow, better offense, better defense. So hopefully the character is going to be much stronger in the future. So now we're going to look at counter guard break changes. All right, so now we're going to look at counter guard break changes finally. So we've done a small change where whenever you counter guard break, you now have frame advantage for 1 frame, right? And we also push opponents a little bit less far. So I'm going to guard break Alex here. You can counter guard break, right? So we're pushed a little bit less far, but also the person that did the counter guard break has frame advantage for 1 frame. That might not seem like a big change, but what it does do is that, let's say I'm going to guard break Alex, he's going to counter guard break, and then I'm going to mash guard break, and he's going to throw a heavy, and let's see what happens. See, so on live right now, so you saw that I did a guard break, I fully buffered it. My guard break bounced, and the heavy landed, right? So what this does is that 1 frame of frame advantage lets your opponent, lets the person that did the counter guard break, throw out anything but a light or a guard break. You can do like other options, but basically the idea is that like right now on live, whenever somebody guard breaks, if your opponent counter guard breaks, the only thing either player can do is throw a light, because guard break will catch anything else. It'll catch heavies, it'll catch dodges, it'll catch absolutely everything. And so it makes it that you end up becoming very predictable, and guard break becomes a very good tool to really stop offense here. Whereas now, when you manage to successfully counter guard break, you have more options. It doesn't mean that you don't get guaranteed damage or anything, but you have more options. It makes you less predictable, and so it doesn't make sure that you're always going to throw a light, that then you know it's a light, so you can always parry it, and you get into that route where, especially at a high level, guard breaks were becoming a problem, and people would just like mash guard break all the time, and the only thing you could really do is either light or guard break, and it didn't quite work. So with this change, you can really land heavies afterwards. You can do a lot of different things. And the other thing you can do is that you can do, we'll show it with Alex right now. If I throw a guard break and he counter guard breaks, I'm going to try to back roll, and you'll see that he can mash guard break to actually catch my back roll. So let's look at it this way. See, so I tried to back roll here, and his guard break caught me. So it means that it's much harder to also to defend yourself with a dodge or with different options after your opponent counters your guard break. We did this so we want to have guard breaks still be useful in the game, right? They're still very good. They still guarantee heavies. None of that changed. But we want it to be that there is a little bit of risk associated to it, and the person that actually successfully defended has a bit more of an advantage here. So that's going to be it for Testing Grounds. I really want to give a big shout out to Alex. Unfortunately, he can only be my body bag right now. So, but thank you very much. We had technical issues where he couldn't join the video with me and be on the audio call, but he graciously accepted to be there with me so we can record this session. So thank you, Alex, and we'll see you guys back into the Warriors then. Thank you.
And there we have it, JC. Thank you so much to you and Alex for being able to go through that. Everything looks super awesome. Do you have like any final thoughts that you want to share before we move on?
Bro, I'm so hyped for the new changes.
I'm super excited for people to try this out. I know we're trying new things with Valkyries that should be really interesting there, and the counter guard break stuff too. And I'm really psyched for all of this stuff. I just want to say again, I mentioned it in the video, but I want to reiterate it. A big thank you to Alex. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues. He couldn't be with me on video and with audio when we were recording, but he was still in front of me fighting, and we were like talking to each other at the same time. So that was all good. So thanks very much, Alex, and I look forward to getting everybody's feedback.
Oh yes, definitely. Feedback's going to be a huge thing, a part of the testing grounds, as it always is. We are going to be putting together a survey for the testing grounds. So once it's up, just see it on the Reddit. Definitely be sure to get your thoughts in throughout the testing grounds, not just in the beginning. We want to obviously see how your feedback progresses and stuff like that. So JC, Alex, thank you so much for going over the testing grounds. Super excited for everyone to try the changes out on September 15th. And you sitting in that chair or in the car or doing whatever, don't go anywhere, because up next we'll be back with Brian and 2 very special guests for a competitive update. So
okay, guys.
All right.
I skipped it.